Hey guys, JV here with a new episode of my Mass Effect Andromeda Pathfinder Guide series. Today we're exploring how to find the best possible items in containers. If you're familiar with other loot-based RPGs, you know that sometimes you can find ways to re-roll for better items. So in this video, we'll talk about identifying container types, what you're going to find in them, different ways to re-roll your loot, and how to uncover hidden caches across a variety of planets. Also, don't worry, this video has no spoilers if you're trying to avoid those. There is one section, but I will warn you, it's towards the end of the video where there might be something spoilery. Before we move on, quick reminder that I'm uploading tips and tricks guides, multiplayer, and my stream playthrough continuing tonight and every night during launch week for Andromeda. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure and subscribe. First off, we're going to talk about the types of containers that you're going to find out in the world. And I know this sounds boring, why would you talk about this? But there's a lot of nuance and stuff that you need to know if you're going to take advantage of re-rolling items with containers. The first way that containers are distinguishable is by their technology type and where they originate from. So first off, you have Milky Way containers, then you have Remnant containers, Ket containers, and Angara containers. So there's 4 different kind of technology types of containers that you'll come across. When it comes to these, it should be fairly obvious, but if you're looking for an Angaran piece of armor, you're only going to find that in an Angara container. They don't cross over. If you're looking for initiative gear, it's going to be found in a Milky Way container. If you're looking for a Ket rifle, it's going to be in a Ket container, and on and on. Furthermore, within these technology types, there are different sizes of containers, and the size of the container determines what you're going to find inside of it. Unfortunately, I'm not at a point of the game yet where I can show you what every single container looks like, but generally speaking, they follow the same kind of theme. Smaller containers look similar across all of the technology types. The footage you're seeing here is from one of my streams, and for the life of me, I couldn't find what I was looking for outside of my stream with the rest of this gameplay. So anyways, this is what a small container looks like. This is a small remnant container, these little blocks that are kind of, smashed together. What you're going to find in these smaller containers, regardless of the tech type, is salvage. It's very low value salvage. It's going to sell for a little bit of credits, but you're not going to find some super duper rare stuff in these kinds of containers. The next 2 containers in terms of size are common and uncommon. These are a little bit larger than smaller ones. They're kind of hard to distinguish between the two, and so that's why I lumped them together. But generally speaking, they're more box shaped. They look more like traditional crates and containers. And in these containers, you'll find all kinds of stuff. You'll find salvage, consumables, weapons or armor if you're lucky, different research materials. And the thing that distinguishes the common and uncommon containers is just rarity. So you're gonna find some better stuff in uncommon containers compared to common containers. So essentially, the bigger the container is, the better stuff you'll find. And that brings us to the final normal container type, which is rare containers. These are the largest containers that you'll find, and they have the highest chance for ultra rare quality items, whether it's equipment, weapons and armor, salvage, materials, etc., etc. You're going to find the best stuff in rare containers. Now, there are more types of containers out there, and they're sort of unique. It's kind of all over the place. We've got hidden caches, which you can uncover with a perk. We'll talk more about those later because those are super special. They have some of the best stuff you can find in a container. And you'll also have world-specific containers. For example, there is one world that I've come across that has a ton of mining caches. These containers look the same every single time, and they only have materials for crafting. They have a ton of materials for crafting. So if you come across a special container like that, just know that if you're on that world, you're going to find a ton of it. Now we're moving into how you can re-roll your containers. So just to clarify, some containers that you'll find out in the world will have the same thing every single time you go through a playthrough if they're quest related and you need an item from that, or if they're just unique. There are some unique containers sitting out there where every single time they will drop the same thing because that's just what you're going to find in that specific one. However, the vast majority of containers out there operate on an RNG system with specific loot tables. You're going to get a random set of loot depending on what kind of container that you're looking at, the types that we talked about before: salvage, common, uncommon, rare, and hidden cache. The quantity of items you're going to find in a specific type of container, as well as the quality, are also RNG. So there's a lot of randomized system going on. You're getting random loot depending on which container you're opening. Now, because of this, you can use the game to re-roll your items in order to get another set of loot, in order to get the best RNG possible, the best roll of items that you can find. Now, there are 2 possible ways to do this. One is guaranteed, works every single time. The other one is a little iffy. I haven't been able to test it myself, but I've been reading about it, heard from some friends. This is a way that also works. So let's talk about the guaranteed way first. This one is as simple as saving and reloading. So when you come across somewhere where you think there might be a container that you're going to want to loot, you're going to want to save before you get close. Now, this game has a specific way that it saves your loot, and I believe it's proximity based, at least from what I've been able to tell. If you get too close, it's going to lock in the type of loot that you're going to get from the container. So you want to make sure you save from a safe distance away before you close the gap and actually go and find that container. So this right here is a rare remnant container. As you can tell, it's very angular. It's one of the biggest containers in the game that you're going to find. So we're going to go ahead and open it and see what I got in this one specifically. We got some salvage, some consumables, some research materials, stuff like that. Let's say for whatever reason, I don't like what I found in that container and I think I can get something better. Well, I can pause and then load that save game that I just made, and then I can run back up and open it, and I'll find a different set of items in this container. And so it's a little bit tricky knowing when you need to save in order to, not get trapped by getting too close. But as you can tell, I got different items. I would say these are definitely worse than what I found before. Some high value salvage, but not as good as what we had before. And as I'm showing you here, you can do this as many times as you want. You can keep reloading until you find what you believe to be the best loot table, the best RNG that you can find out of that specific container. I know this is not super efficient. This game doesn't have a great autosave system right now. I believe they're trying to patch that in, but this is the most, efficient system to go by, because you don't know if there's going to be a container, and having to manually save every time you go into a new location is a drag. It really is. This is not something I'm going to do consistently all the time. However, you can do it for very specific special crates that we're about to talk about. But I just wanted to show you that this works with standard containers out in the world. You can do this for every single container unless it's unique or story based. The alternative way to reroll is something that I haven't been able to get working myself. I've read from other people that they have gotten this to work, so that's why I've been including it in this video, but take this one with a grain of salt. And so this method is different. You can actually walk up to the container without saving or anything and check it, but then you can leave and then come back later and check it again. So I haven't been able to test this myself because I think it requires an extended amount of playtime, but this is definitely less efficient than the other method. So for example, I'm looking at this one, I see a specific armor piece in here. If I go away from this location, go do some other quests, get some progress in the game, and then come back and check it, it may have a new loot roll. But again, this is not super efficient. Just keep in mind that this might be possible. Now we're going to talk about the most reliable way that you can find ultra rare gear and re-roll it efficiently and effectively. And so this part contains a little bit of spoilers up next. So if you haven't gotten around 8 to 10 hours through the game yet, I advise that you don't watch this part if you're worried about spoilers. Once you level up the Nexus in a certain point in the story, you'll be able to wake up certain people. And what you want to do if you want the best gear possible as early as possible is go to the military pods and choose reconnaissance. This will reveal the exact spot of hidden caches near FOBs and outposts on every single world in the game that you can explore. After you get that perk and go to a world that you can explore, go to the map and it's immediately obvious how useful this is. This is what it looks like. You have these icons, these hidden caches everywhere, even in places that you haven't discovered yet. As you can tell on the far left side of the map, I haven't even gone over there yet, and I can see that there's hidden caches over there. If you couldn't already tell, the reason this is the most efficient way to find the best items is number one, hidden caches do have the best items in the game. And so if you're trying to get the best stuff, then you do need to find the hidden caches. This shows you where the hidden caches are, and it's not like, oh, I need to go up to this area and save potentially because I might find a really good chest. We know where they are. So as you saw right there, as I got closer to the hidden cache, I made a manual save right there just in case I want to re-roll. And so over here, the hidden cache is hidden behind one of these rocks. And similar to the one we saw earlier, this is a rare remnant chest with a glyph over it. And I have seen hidden caches that look different than this one, so it's not every single time. So anyways, this is the loot table, the RNG roll that I got. And at the very bottom, you'll see that I got Remnant Cores. And this is something that someone asked me, where do you find these, JV? I have no idea. I have found these in almost every single hidden cache that I've found so far. And so if you're looking for Remnant Cores, this is where you'll find them. For demonstration's sake, I'm showing you guys that you can load the save game just like I showed you guys before with these hidden caches, and then run back from that safe location, grab them again, and get a whole new loot roll. That first loot roll that I got was really good, but as you can tell, this one's a little bit different. I got disruptor ammo instead of incendiary. I got another ultra rare item that allows me to skip the remnant puzzles, but I also got the Remnant Cores. I think you're going to get the Remnant Cores no matter what with these. Anyways, that was how to find ultra rare items and reroll containers in Mass Effect Andromeda. Again, it's much more efficient to go the hidden cache military pod reconnaissance way, but if you just want to do this with traditional containers out in the world, rare ones, you can get some really good stuff this way. This is all about maximizing the stuff that you get out of containers. Also, if you're just looking for Remnant Cores, this is exactly how you find them. I'm sure there's some wiki out there with locations and pictures, which means you don't have to grab their reconnaissance perk, but again, if you want to do it yourself, this is how you get that done. If you learned something new or just enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. And also don't forget, we've got tips and tricks guides, multiplayer, and my stream playthrough continuing tonight and all launch week. Make sure and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.